stand up. They clearly got used to my style at this stage. Could I just say that protecting our children, and I suppose the emphasis that this government has put on children is the fact that it has created a minister with responsibility for youth affairs and children. And I think that more than anything else indicates the commitment any government has to any particular area. And we do not have a good record in relation to our children. You know, we have this illusion about ourselves that somehow, we're overly generous to our children and we love our children and we protect them as. But in fact, history tells us that that's not the case. That the institutions of the state did not fully recognise the trust that was placed in them in relation to our children. They did not fully recognise that. And I'm not certain that that realisation has impacted on them yet. But I do know that the new ministry in relation to youth and children is making an impact already. It is putting together a whole range of services that we need to put in place in order to ensure that not just that our children are protected, because that type of paternalism to a great extent doesn't work in all cases, but that our children are listened to. I mean, I remember a time, and it's not that far long ago, when children were told to be quiet. Just sit there, listen, don't move, go outside the door, the adults are speaking. And in certain circumstances, that's absolutely correct, because children need to be children and they need to enjoy their childhood. But unless we put the mechanisms in place in order to ensure that that childhood is a safe place to be, that our children will never feel the absolute security which will allow them to flourish and grow and become whole and complete adults. I think we're making a start, but it's only a start. I was at a UN convention recently, and one of the speakers there was a guy called Tony Blake, who used to be Bill Clinton's advisor. I move in very, very high circles this sweater. And Tony Blake was talking to me about a project that Irish Aid, which Joe Costello has responsibility for now, is involved in the developing world. And it's called SUN. And it's called Step Up Nutrition. And I think it's something that we could benefit from. He tells me that in the first 1,000 days of a child's life, that's from conception to the age of 2, if they don't get the proper nutrition, if both the mother, while she's pregnant, and the child afterwards doesn't get the proper nutrition, that in that 1,000 days they will never ever reach their full potential, either intellectually or physically. Never reach their full potential. And he says you can give them what you like afterwards. At 2.5, you can stuff them with nutrition. It will not make up for what you have lacked. And that is the type of programme that we need to take a serious look at in this country. Serious look at. We need to start talking about basic things like mothering, protection, comfort. And when we spoke a while ago about mortgages, children are the biggest sufferers. Children are the biggest sufferers. One of my own big bugbears is in relation to domestic violence, and why we continue to allow children to be forced out of their homes by whether it's a mother or a father, and have to live for several nights, maybe a week, maybe several weeks, in uncomfortable surroundings and unfamiliar surroundings. Why are we still allowing that to happen? That's a children's issue, and an issue that we need to take on board. And if we're serious about how we protect our children, then we must start listening to them, and we must start asking them what they want and where they feel best protected. And that's really what this debate needs to be about. And it needs to be about giving our children the very best start in life, and ensuring that even when you move into the education sphere, that whole generations are not blighted by a lack of a good education. Thank you.